The situation at Spurs is oh so wrong. It's all part of Phoenix and Levy's gone. A world-class stadium, second-rate team. Spurs are winning nothing under this regime. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, it's what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, is what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Project Youth, just another Levy feast. Dismantling Spurs history piece by piece. The stadium, just an entertainment hub. No true fan wanted this for our club. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Legendary Bill Nick would turn in his grave if he knew how the owners now behave. Corporate greed and no success. We need to work together to get our club out of this mess. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out.
All right. Welcome to Tottenham Away. North London's Hours is going to be a different show tonight. StreamYard, who we used to stream, was down and just got up. Meaning I couldn't change the graphic logos to Frank and didn't think we were going to have a show. Yeah, other people were streaming, but they're using other stream services. We use StreamYard, and so we just got up. Yes, the intro is still Levy and Enoch out, but we got Frank in. And the person next to me, no, Stel has not grown hair. Stel has not,
muscles.
but it is blood. It is blood. It is his cousin. Stel, and big up, to my knowledge, it's their first appearance on the channel. How are you doing? How are you related to Stel? Yeah, I guess cousin.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. Me and Stel were first cousins, the exact same surname as well. So you Google our names, and we're the only two results that you'll find. Our dads are brothers, so we're first cousins. So yeah, he's I think a good amount older than me. So he's always been the older cousin. I've always been the baby of the family, like in comparison. So we're both grown men now, though.
Okay. Now,
how you doing?
Doing good. Now, tell him from that shirt, you do support the Gooners?
Yeah. So I'm from North London as well, so I support the right side of North London too.
Oh man, and that's where it just gets separated.
Well, it wouldn't be a good show if everyone was here just agreeing with each other on the same side, right? That's what the whole point of today is for.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. So, we're definitely going to talk about the big news, and like I said, it's been a weird night because we were expecting. Big up to everybody in the chat. We were expecting it's still Tottenham versus Arsenal, but it's just, we made a big hire. I need to put up a picture of our new coach. Like I said, guys, news broke out, and here we go. Welcome to Tottenham, Thomas Frank, or I like to say Thomas Frank. welcome to Tottenham. He is our new coach. And so I've given my opinion on Monday about him, but you're our guest tonight, and I would love for you to give your opinion about Frank and this hire, what it's going to do for us.
Sure thing, man. I mean, first of all, what he's done for Brentford, bringing them up, with the resources they've got, the infrastructure, and more importantly, keeping them up there in the Premier League. I'm not just saying like 16th, 17th, but normally quite a safe, relatively respectable mid-table kind of consistent finish. You can't knock that. Always having to kind of always battle uphill with the resources they've got and everything else. So you can't really fault the work he's done at Brentford. I don't know much about him before Brentford, but you can only kind of really base him on, especially that he's joining a Premier League team. The Brentford is kind of what you base him as a manager on. I think it's quite clear tactically, as a coach, on the grass. I think he's quite clear, knows what he's doing. He's got good ideas, and as well as his coaching staff too. The assistant managers bringing in, remind me what his name is, but is it Cochrane? I don't know how you say that name.
Cochrane. Yeah, like I said, I was trying to pull up a picture.
So he's apparently very kind of well rated in like the industry and stuff. So he might bring with him. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So I guess if he's able to live up to kind of his expectations, he'd be good for you guys as well. I mean, the thing is, having said, Frank is clearly a good coach, right? And everything's like Brentford is great. And this is a similar kind of thing I had with Emery when he made the step up to Arsenal. I'm not saying Arsenal's Real Madrid or, Spurs are Real Madrid or anything like that, but the requirements to do a good job at Brentford are very different to the requirements that you need to be a good manager at Arsenal in Emery's case, or in or also in the case of Frank stepping up to Spurs, right? At Brentford, like I said, he did a good job, but there were times I'm sure he went through 4 games without a win, three losses at home on the bounce, and you wouldn't hear anything about it, right? Which is understandable. He can't do that at Spurs because fans will be all over it. The internet pressure is going to be all there. So whether he can kind of make that step up into that different kind of environment of expectation and more pressure compared to Brentford, where 12th and a semi-decent cup run was a success for them. You guys wouldn't accept that same kind of season. So I'd say that has to be seen of his how he handles the pressure, how he handles a few bad defeats, maybe a few bigger egos in the dressing room. I don't think he's ever been tested. Maybe even Tony, but he was quite a weird guy, and they agreed to ship him off to Saudi. Overall, I mean, I think all the ingredients are there for him to be a good manager, but I think like my namesake cousin would say, if he's operating under a restricted environment, a chairman who's not going to support him, run the rule over him, then maybe much be the same story as your other managers.
Yeah,
that's kind of my summary take on it.
It's so key, and right now there's so many things that is going on at Spurs right now. The very fact that Levy has allowed, usually Levy only allows 2 or 3, maybe at the most, manager support staff to come over. Apparently he's allowed 6, and I'm pretty sure one of them is a set piece coach, because Brentford was second. They only allowed 2 goals on the defense, which set pieces were horrible. So, but yeah, no, I'm gonna get Lubo start. Welcome, Lubo. You're not hallucinating. That is not Stell with hair, but that is his blood. That is his cousin.
Hey man, how's it going?
Yeah. Good.
Frank is here. I'm buzzing. I'll give my reason why. I do like Frank. Lubo, I know you're buzzing. I know Archie Gray's buzzing. And Bergvall. I mean,
I'm just pleased that the chaos is finished. We've got a proper manager who knows knows what he's doing, tactically inept, tactically adaptable, should I say? Tactically inept was Ange. I'm just looking forward to the season now. The guy deserves a chance at a big club. His performance per pound notes, is the best in the country. The wage bill is the 19th out of 20. He's kept them up for 4 years. He's had a net spend of 71 million in 7 years. I mean, he's done everything on a budget. Now he's got some. He's got a lot more money to spend. Let's see how he gets on. Looking forward to seeing it.
Do you reckon that might be a little factor in why Levy went for him? That he's used to being on a budget. Do you reckon that's a sign of maybe things to come, or is it just a testament to him being a good coach working in a club like Brentford, which doesn't have that much to spend?
Well, I think he'll get a couple of good players in before the season starts. I just got that feeling that I think after finishing 17th, Levy's got to spend some money. The team wasn't good enough. Even allowing for his chaotic tactics, you can see that under Frank, if he doesn't strengthen, we'll finish 8th, 9th, 10th. That's about best. So the team needs fresh blood, needs better players, needs established players, needs leaders in the team, and then we can go forward.
Yeah.
Lubo, I have been the last maybe 3 days just watching clips and film, but also listening to interviews, even Defoe and Pep. And today I watched the 12th Man, and I listened to our rivals. There were 2 Arsenal guys, Dan Potts and Hooks, Liverpool, and 1 Leeds. The 1 Forest guy was kind of winding things up, but from everybody, even our rivals, have said Frank is a coach, and what he has done at Brentford, though he doesn't, your cousin would say he does have a trophy, but working on that shoestring budget at Brentford, losing your best player year after year after year, and him working with talent, and we're a young team too. I get this feeling, Lubo, that we may have just found someone who is just like Poch, who's going to build our team up, bring structure, bring awareness, positional awareness, and cultivate some talent. Of course, going over the line will depend on Levy truly backing this guy. But Lubo, I have a feeling that Frank is going to do some amazing things. Well, I mean, not, of course, easily we're not going to finish 17th, but I think good things are coming. I don't know. I just have this feeling that good things are coming.
I hope so. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. I'm just gonna, we're gonna sit back. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. I'm fed up with coming onto the streams. We've lost again. Performance is poor. Defensively, we're giving away bad goals. There's no substitutions at the wrong time. The wrong players playing. I'm just fed up with it. So, Bilbao was fantastic. It was a surprise. I remember coming away from Alkmaar in March at the end of the first leg. Thought it was the worst performance I'd seen all season. And I thought, Tamworth, he played a reserve team. He didn't play a reserve team against Alkmaar, and they were dreadful, absolutely dreadful. So we're here, and it's a good, we're in a good place now. We're in a good place. We're in a much better place.
Yeah.
So,
is there anyone from Brentford you'd bring over like immediately? Like, do you reckon he'll do like a Redknapp, Crouch, Crankyard kind of deal with anyone there, or do you reckon he'll look elsewhere?
I'd like to think that he'll bring in Buemo with him.
It looks like he's going to United. By all fairness, I mean, I've got no idea why anyone would choose United anyway. But...
nothing's happened since. I mean, they had up to yesterday or the night before to get it signed, to get it sorted. And it wasn't sorted, was it? So, let's wait and see. Maybe Mbeumo's been holding off, waiting to see what happens with Frank.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but I guess one thing I want to look at in regards to because there was a holdup with the coaches, and have the coaches here that were now coming in. I think that's a very key thing because Ian, you know that Levy is very tight on how many coaches a new manager can bring. Though Ange never brings his coaches at whatever stop, but he brought in Justin Cochran, who is now working. He's been working with England with Tuchel. And he knows our youth. He's been here before. Justin Cochran, Chris Haslam, Joe Newton, and Andreas Gorson, who will also join Matt Wells and Rob Birch. Is this a sign that maybe Levy is now like, hey, I'm going to let, the managers and the Paratici come back, let them cook, as the young guys would say.
Well, Conte brought his team in, didn't he? Conte had a team with him. Poch had a team with him, and now Frank's got one. So let's wait. Again, it's a question of wait and see. It's exciting, for me they've got a good manager, and it's all very well people saying, well, he's lost 33 games in the last 2 league seasons, and we've lost 34. But he's with Brentford and we're Tottenham. We should have been miles clear of Brentford. They were 18 points clear of us this season in the league, 18 and 7 positions. So,
out of interest, guys, before the Thomas Frank link started, who would have been your first choice a month ago or 2 weeks ago after Ange?
I probably thought Glasner because he's won an FA Cup and a European trophy.
Yeah.
I was interested in looking at Xavi and seeing if he could develop kids, and Frank was in the 3. Right. So we'll see. Let's see. Looking forward to the new season. Looking forward to seeing who they bring in. And it's just an end to the chaos. Used to go and used to watch Spurs set up, and the gaps. The fullbacks would be in midfield inverted, and there'd be wingers running right down down our flanks. It was just crazy. The whole thing was crazy. So now at least we can go and we'll be competitive.
Yeah, and that's all I ask. Every week it was just being wide open and just watching teams, their midfields, their forwards. It's just it was unenjoyable until the Europa semifinals and finals. That was it. And I was looking into this season. I said on the last show, I was saying maybe 10th, but eliminating all the domestic cups. And I just did not want to have that feeling going into next season where I felt like we'll get pumped week in and week out. And now, for me, I'm excited. Even for the Super Cup, it's a tall order, but at least I'm like, there'll be some structure. At least I don't worry about PSG winning 7-0. Okay, maybe PSG beats us 3-1, or maybe pull up the upset. But now I feel like much, much, much better, Yeah.
Next week's the fixture list as well, the fixtures draw. So we'll see what kind of start he has as well. I'll be watching it from my office. Yeah,
it's Wednesday, Wednesday, isn't it? Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Now, here's a difficult question. I've seen this go around. Is there, I'm going to straight out say, I don't think there's no pressure on him. But is there pressure, and maybe it's some from the fans who still because you still have fans who are still crying over Ange being gone. And so now they're looking for the first sign of failure to go after Frank. Do you actually think there's pressure?
Not interested. Honestly, not interested in those sort of fans, because your fans. You either support the team or you support a manager.
100%.
So if they support a manager, what are they doing at Spurs?
Yeah.
For the amount of time that managers last at Spurs, what have you got? A year and a half, 2 years supporting the club, and then you're going to be off. So if you're a fan that just a fan of a manager, that's fine. People can do what they want, but you're not a proper fan of the club. So for me, what they think is meaningless. It's just meaningless. Every proper Spurs fan, committed Spurs fan, will want Thomas Frank to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
100%. 100%. One big thing I'm excited about with him coming in is just which talents are going to be cultivated. And I'm really, really excited for Bergvall, because you look at what he did with Damsgaard. And so I'm real excited about what he's going to do with Bergvall. Thinking he's even going to approve Papa Sarr, who scored the other night against England, Senegal. And then, Archie Gray. Really, Mikey Moore. And then even some of the veteran players. I know we're going to get some people in. Hopefully we get 2 or 3 signings in. But even if Romero stays and looking at how he plays, because people think he plays defensive, looking back and looking at the videos, he actually likes playing advanced, free-flowing football, but he also adjusts to the opponent. I'm excited when he has a back 5 and where Porro and Udogie can now freely do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Work with Olderberg. I mean, is there 2 or 3 talents that you think is going to really stand out because Frank is there?
I've no idea who he fancies, who he's going to pick. I think we'll see what he's doing with all the pre-season games. Listen, it's Bergvall. I think is going to establish himself big time this season. Gray, hopefully, Frank wanted to take him to Brentford, like he wanted Johnson as well. So hopefully he'll look at Johnson. He'll move him further in, because for me Johnson's no winger, and Johnson does his best work inside the box. So I'd rather have the overlapping fullbacks with Johnson in the middle. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays, who he gives an opportunity to, which of the kids come back and stay, which of the kids are going to be given the chance, people who have been out on loan, like Solomon. What will he do with him? Will he send him out? Will he transfer him out straight away? Will he get rid of him, or will he have a look at him? We'll wait and see. It's all, at least it's done now. At least we know that Frank's in. He's got a team. I think he's bringing 4 of his team across. And, hopefully now things will settle down. Spurs can now start going after players because they know who the manager is.
Yeah.
It's steadied the ship a bit.
Yeah. No, it's good. We need to start signing some players to improve the squad. Liverpool's off and running. City's off and running. I know we'll talk about Arsenal catching up with those guys. And so we need to get some people in. I'm hearing Semeno, along with Buemo. Also hearing that he wants a 6. The ones I could think of is the one for Brighton. What's his name? Willa. And Ana Kone, who's out in Germany. No, not Germany, at Roma. So it's we need to get some improvement.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a definite must. With this now, with the new Frank era coming in, how would I say it? It's a relief, but it's also in the sense of now we're really going to see who is going to stick and who's going to twist with this team. I mean, now you're going to find out, is Basuma going to be a person that's going to stay with this club? Romero, and now, I bring up Romero. If he's gone now, that gives a wonderful chance for Danzo. Also gives a chance to some of our young, like Ashley Phillips. I want to see how good he is. I want to see how the other one's doing.
You got Vuskovic to come in as well.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting.
Yeah. And so we want to see if those talent, pan out. It's good. It's good times, Lubo.
Sure.
I'm excited. Definitely, we got to do it step by step. But it's like a breath of fresh air, which sounds weird because we won a trophy 3 weeks ago. It's just
no, it's very different. I'm looking at some of the comments, and yes, it's about will we be back here in 2 years' time? Probably, if Levy's still here. Let's. I think everybody knows how I feel about the situation there. I hope Lee McQueen is right. I hope Levy is either sidelined away from football or out of the club altogether. And we can get on and we can become a proper football club, a club where the owners are committed to success. No guarantee.
Do you reckon Frank's that type of manager though, to manage upwards a bit more and hold Levy to a bit of pressure and account of backing him in the transfer market, and not just like the chairman as well, but with the players. Looking from afar as a non-Spurs fan, it looks like all right, Ange had his flaws and the team had its flaws ability-wise and coaching-wise. But with that, there's always an element of bad discipline, bad mentality, bad motivation, unprofessionalism, all that kind of stuff. No doubt there'll be some of that still there around the squad. Do you reckon Frank's the kind of person to come in, clear all that up,
absolutely,
run the rule?
I think he'll if anybody there isn't giving 100% and isn't pulling in the right direction, he'll get rid of them. The way Poch did in his first year, got shot with several players he didn't want. Brought in 3 or 4.
Arteta as well. Ozil, Guendouzi, they stank the place out. He got rid of them as soon as he could. Yeah.
Well, there were 3 players that I heard Arteta wanted rid of early on, which were Luiz, Aubameyang, and Lacazette, and he got shot very quickly.
Yeah, Aubameyang, I think they even paid him off to leave. Was Guendouzi as well was definitely one of them. But yeah, you see it, man, and no one misses those players. No one kind of regretted those players. I'm not sure about Luiz, but yeah, I get what you mean. They were stinking the place out. There was even rumours when Emery got sacked. A few weeks up until his sacking, they were mocking his accent behind his back and all that kind of stuff. Proper losing the dressing room. That attitude basically beat him. That's the kind of question I'm asking. Do you reckon he'll stand up to that type of behaviour or eventually kind of cave into it? That's why I think it will be a big element which you could argue at Brentford he didn't really have tested.
Arteta did it correctly. I think Frank will do it correctly. I'm seeing somebody on some of the comments here. Frank's just happy to be at the club. Why do we think that? Seriously, Frank. If Frank just wanted an easy time, he could have stayed at Brentford. He was established there. He had the backing as far as Brentford could go. They stretched themselves up to their limit. He's jumped out of a very easy. He's jumped out of a comfort zone, to come and work with Levy. For me, why, if he's a yes man, why would he do that? Do I think Levy will help him succeed? Probably not. But, listen, full marks, the guy deserves a big club. If it wasn't Spurs, somebody else would have taken him. United looked at him, Chelsea looked at him, and we've got him. So, I'm really happy that he's joined. I'm not I haven't got too much more to say. It's funny actually. It's just a bit drained after this season. It was a fantastic end to the season. It was absolutely brilliant. I was on a high for a week or so. Now looking forward, I was looking forward to the club getting on an even keel, which it looks like that has happened now. And now we just got to sit back and see what happens with the transfers.
Yeah,
I just need a rest from football, to be honest, because it's you get into June and it's Jesus, what a season we've just had.
Yeah, no, it is draining, and now the window has closed because of the Club World Cup. It's going to open in a couple of weeks as soon as the Club World Cup is over. So,
I think it opens in 4 days, Mari. I think the actual transfer window for everyone now opens on the 16th of June.
And you can still sign. You can still sign within the Premier League as well. So there's nothing stopping you, for example, signing Boemo. It's just overseas transfers that are blocked.
Is it?
Yeah, I think domestic transfers are still allowed.
Because I thought it was the 1st to the 10th and then the 16th.
I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but I
know it was to the 10th. I know it was to the 10th because I know Liverpool was trying to. No, City was trying to get their players in before they go out to the Club World Cup. Yeah. Liverpool got Wirtz in, because Wirtz came from Germany, so they had to get him in before the 10th.
Sure.
And so, let me do a little segue. Of course, you're an Arsenal supporter. I'm still amazed. I got to see you and Stell in the same room.
Where is he?
Yeah. just talk. We all know what Arsenal needs. It's a striker. But you look at Liverpool, who are not done yet. I'm hearing Osimhen, who are a striker for them. And their signings, Kirkes and Frimpong and Wirtz. Then you look at City. I mean, they've signed, what's his name?
Turkey Rangers. They just got they just got that 18-year-old as well from Norway, Nyapan, yeah.
Chelsea,
as well as the other 5 players they got in January too. City.
Chelsea. With Arsenal, we know they're gonna get a striker, but is there a particular striker that you want? I mean, there's people who like Cisco, and then there are those who like Gorkis, and then in comparison with the other clubs, what they're signing, do you feel that's enough? I mean,
you're right. The biggest issue with our squad is that firepower up front. Our main striker Havertz. I like Havertz generally a lot, but maybe he's not the striker to basically fire you to the Premier League. He's a very useful player, good player. He kind of knows his way around. Tactically, he's a bit of a Swiss Army knife, but is he that killer in front of goal that's going to get you, 25 goals a season like Kane did, Aguero, all those guys? No, he's not. I still think he's got his uses, but that big upgrade in the squad, it's in that position. Having said that, I'm not the kind of guy who just says, right, just sign any decent striker. It's got to be the right player, right? And it looks like so far it's come down to either Sesko from Leipzig or Gyökeres from Sporting. It looks like Sesko is the preferred one, and all the noise coming out through all the kind of relatively reputable sources that's the one we're really pushing for. I know there's a bit of back and forth with his release clause, and whether it was apparently it was just a gentleman's release clause. There was nothing in writing. It was an agreement he made with the club verbally last summer. So there's still back and forth on that. I know that there's a bit of politics being played, like their chairman releasing, rumors of Saudi clubs wanting him, and then I think we've retaliated by increasing the Gyökeres bids and links to try and make them kind of feel a bit pressure because they have to sell. They missed out on Europe this year, and they know that he's their meal ticket to like financial kind of stability for the next couple of years. So they have to sell as much as anyone really. And for once in a rare time, I'd say it is a bit of a buyer's market, especially for strikers. I don't think there's that many of the higher end teams looking for a forward. Like City have got theirs. Liverpool have got their. They've had to spend 120 on Wirtz. They might be looking for a forward, but they got to get rid of their existing one first. So I think Arsenal got a bit of a free run at the player they want. It looks like it's Sesko. I mean, it looks like he's still got a good way to go. Like, I think he only scored about 15 or so goals this year or something like that in the league. But, you know, if he was scoring 30 goals already, we'd be bidding 150 million for him, not 60, 70. So a lot of the skill in the transfer is finding that player before they take off. The example I was referred to is Alexander Isak, right? We were linked with him just before he went to Newcastle, and his stats in Spain were not very good. You know, they were decent, but they weren't very good. They weren't, we need to get this guy, he's going to be a superstar good. He joined Newcastle. Within half a season, 1 season or so, he was clearly a top player. And that's the kind of signing that people need to go for. If I was a betting man, I'd say Sesko is going to be an Arsenal player by end of this month. Apparently, we've been talking to him for like 2 years. We've got the relationship with him and his agent, all that. So I'd be looking forward to him coming. Like, physically, he looks an absolute specimen. Like, he's taller than Haaland, he's faster than Mbappe apparently on all the stats. He's got a bit of that arrogance about him, just from what I can tell, like the way he just carries himself on the pitch. So I'm excited to see what he brings. Having said that, I don't think he's going to be automatically a starter if he joins. I think we'll see Havertz up front for the first few games. I think there'll be a bit of a bedding in for Sesko, which is fine. If we can afford to do that, then fair enough. And then apart from that, the next biggest issue for us player-wise is centre midfield. Jorginho's gone already. Partey, he's got a dodgy history record of injuries anyway. The season just gone was his fittest by a mile. He was fit almost every game. And even then he was good, but I don't think he was as amazing as I think a lot of people think he was. He was good, but he wasn't as good as he has been when he was fit a couple of years ago. And it looks like Zubimendi's done. I think Zubimendi was the best player on the market for that position. I can't think of any other kind of deep lying midfielder that's gone that I'm particularly jealous of compared to Zubimendi. And it looks like we're just delaying the announcement because Sociedad wanted to announce in July for accounting reasons. So it's for whatever kind of financial fair play they've got on their side. So I'm really excited about him coming in. So with him, and it looks like we're getting Kepa from Chelsea as a backup keeper. Like, I think he's pretty crap to be honest, but
we'll see.
Backup keeper, who cares? Yeah.
You'll be fine. I'm gonna nip off. Thanks for having me on. Just wanted to pop on and say hi.
Oh, thank you, Ian.
Here's to next season. Here's to next season.
All right, come on, Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Cheers, guys.
Bye. So I think Seth goes with Zubimendi, Kepa. I reckon there'll be Arsenal players. It's a matter of time. And then after that, I think we're going to see a very long summer of links to wingers, especially left wing. Nico Williams, I've got no idea how good he is. His goal scoring record is not very good for Bilbao. Like, apparently he's a release clause of 60 million.
I'm watching the other day. It's just, and then for Bilbao, I'm just like, it's.
From what I gather, though, I think, and again, I don't watch Bilbao. I barely watch Spain.
But what about Vigo? Because you look at the I'm not even talking about AFTVs. You look at the Football Terrace, look at Hussam, Don Hussam, and those channels. Rodrigo, is he close to Arsenal? Like, are you guys seriously getting Rodrigo?
I mean, we're linked with him, right? There's no denying that we're linked with him, right? It looks like, so the story with him, it seems that he's been playing right wing most of his career at Madrid, and he always sees himself as a left winger. So he wants assurances from the new manager, Xabi Alonso, that he's going to have chances left wing. And again, all the noise coming out, all the rumors that I see on Twitter and leaked out of Marca and all the Madrid accounts, which I don't know how reliable they are kind of saying that he's not been assured about left wing chances. He'd be open to leaving. Maybe he's going to have another conversation with Alonso and kind of see how he fits in. But it kind of looks that if he does look to leave, we'll be front of the line. I'd absolutely love him to come. I think he's a top player. He's got the pedigree of being, playing for Madrid all those years, and he knows his way around the pressure, and he's won title after title in his career. So hopefully if he does a kind of Alexis Sanchez type career kind of progression with us, that'd be absolutely amazing. I've got no idea if he would genuinely join us. I've got no idea if we can afford his fee. Depends on how much Sesko ends up going for and everything else that we do. But I think he's going to be the dream signing, and I reckon that's going to play out for a long, long time. I don't think that's going to get resolved anytime soon. I think there's a lot of stages to go through. You never know. City might come in for him. Liverpool might come in for him. Whoever else, right? Mm. But yeah, like you said, I think all the other kind of channels, all of my friends, all of my WhatsApp groups have got Rodrigo. Like, he'd be the madness signing if you know what I mean. Like, he'd be the dream one.
Yeah, I mean, by Martinelli, he's on the bench.
But that's the thing, Martinelli, right? I still like him. He wasn't very good. He wasn't amazing last year, but he's still a very good player. And if he's not an automatic starter, so what? We're going to play 55, 60 games next year. He's going to have plenty of chances. And his biggest strength, which is his pace and directness, if you're bringing him on at 70, 75 minutes quite often, he might just become like an unbelievable bench player for us, and be able to kind of really put teams to the sword. And a 2-1 becomes a 3-1 once we catch them on the counter and things like that. Like you saw his goal at the Bernabeu. That's what he's all about, right? Just finding the space, running in and getting the ball sort of in the net. So because he plays right wing as well, he'll get plenty of chances. I don't necessarily believe in having that strict first 11 and then a bunch of 11 backups. You've got to have those Martinellis. In our case, like the Benjamin Whites, the Calafioris, who can play in a variety of positions and come in seamlessly and do that job. So ultimately, that's what gets you through the May fixtures.
Yeah. Banter aside, as you know, we have won the Europa League. We've won a trophy. And I've watched the League Gunners. I've watched the damn pods and even Yardman saying, "Oh, how this affects us winning, how it affects Arsenal in regards to now you guys are the Big Six, so the longest to not win a trophy. But yes, Arteta won the FA Cup in his very first year. But now the pressure is on in the sense of now Arteta. The question is twofold. Does Arteta have to win a trophy, meaning any trophy, or he has to get the league? And if it's not the league, the Champions League.
Yeah. So that's a really good question, man. Like, you're right. It's been a long time. It's been 5 years this year since we've won the trophy. And even that was a cobbled together underdog team, against the run of play, the semi-final and the final, won that game. But fair enough. We won the game. Fine. Yeah. In terms of pressure, you know what? Like the progress we've made and the side that we've built, an FA Cup won't quench my thirst. And I know that sounds a bit arrogant, a bit spoiled, and I'd celebrate an FA Cup all day long, but that doesn't validate, the project, so to speak. I don't like using that kind of word, right? But you're right. The undoubted success is one of the big two. Those are the two major trophies. Everything else is in the category below, right? Until Arteta wins a Champions League and or a Premier League, you can't say that his time will have been a bona fide success. Now, I don't necessarily believe that if you don't win a trophy, it's failure. The things aren't successful. Things aren't that simple, right? Because look at our season just now. We had bad injuries, a lot of bad, moments. We came second and came in the Champions League semis, right? That in itself is a respectable season. You can't be sacked for a second and a Champions League semi, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. That's not the final step. You got to lift silverware. If we come second and an FA Cup next year, I'll be happy, of course. But I'm not going to finally say Arteta has arrived. The squad is there now. Like, it's got to be one of those two. Yeah. And there is pressure now because we've been at that level for 2, maybe 3 years where the pressure's there because Arteta himself has raised the expectations. Even when we were 8th, and losing at home to Burnley and Southampton, and getting schooled by City and Liverpool every time we played them. We've now gone to like, I think 20 games unbeaten against those rivals, Chelsea, United, and Spurs, right? He's raised that expectation himself. And even when we were crap, he was saying it's not good enough. I remember there was one game at the end of do you remember the season when Liverpool won it?
Yeah.
Not this one, the one before, during COVID lockdown, yeah?
COVID year.
We beat them that season, right, behind closed doors, and they battered us. It was a 3-0 performance from them, and we somehow beat them, right, totally against the run of play. And he was there in his interview afterwards. He didn't praise the team. He didn't say what a great result. He said that game out there showed how far away we are from where we need to be. So even from years ago, he was putting that pressure and expectation on himself and on the team, right? And you got to big that up, right? He kind of stood by his ambition. He could have, hid behind a fluky result and said, "Oh, this team's great. The players are great," but he kind of used that as a platform to say, "No, we want to be where Liverpool are. We don't want to be celebrating a dodgy win against them. We want to be controlling those games." And we're now at that level where, if it wasn't for 2 defensive injuries during the game, we would have beaten Liverpool at home. If it wasn't for 45 minutes with 10 men and a last-second equaliser, we would have beaten City away. We're now beating Spurs, United, Chelsea routinely at home and even away in a lot of cases. We're now there. We are ready to. We are like 90% there. We've got to take that extra step, whether it's quality in the transfer window, whether it's a bit of luck with injuries. You can't fault that injuries don't have an impact on the season. Just look at City, look at Liverpool from previous years, look at Spurs now. You were 17th, missing half your squad all the time, right? You can't, it's not an excuse, but it's a factor to say why you didn't perform. And you're right, if you were to tell me that, not all injuries are luck, I kind of agree with you, but you got to balance it out a little bit.
I would tell you, going into next season with Ange, injuries will still be a problem because it's always been a problem with Ange because of the way he trains, but let alone the high line requires. We led the Premier League. Did a study of we were above average of hamstring injuries. We were like at 38%.
Yeah, same with us. We had like 3 hamstring surgeries this year, man. Like, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, and the league was average at 25%. But this has been going back to Celtic, and so I'll throw this question. You probably already know your cousin's view on Ange, and I know it's the past. But I'm curious, 100% on that Frank train. Stell's here. Big up. Oh man, big up. So we have Frank now. What was your views? Because he did bring us a trophy. There's no denying that. And your cousin does remind everybody he brought us a trophy. But what was your view? Because we just talked about Arteta needs to win a trophy. He needs to. And probably has to win the big trophy. That's the league. So what was your
Champions League? Yeah.
So what was your view on Ange?
First of all, the Europa win, right?
Right.
Fair enough. You won that. You got all. It sounds like, rivalry aside, it was a glorious night for you. I know a lot of people that were at the stadium.
Yeah.
My cousin as well. Fair enough. It was a great night for you guys. I've got friends that were at the stadium, the Spurs stadium, that had the pitch invasion and all that kind of stuff, and at the parade. It looked like you guys had a great time. Fair enough. You celebrated that trophy. No bitterness. Fine. You won that fair and square. The gods were smiling on you to give you that semi-final and final, but you can only beat who's in front of you, right? Fair enough. Now, you can always balance, a trophy, a tournament trophy with the league, right? If Ange had even got
Ninth or 10th.
First half, if he got top half finish, if he got ninth and then the trophy, I think he'd still be here.
Yeah, he'd still be here. Yeah, he will still be here.
You know, because you've got to think that compensates for those bad games. But 17th is unforgivable, man. 17th is unforgivable for Spurs. The money you've spent, the caliber of players, and the expectation that you've got. I'm not saying you guys have got a God-given right to be challenging for leagues, but 17th is like completely abhorrent as a result. I've watched your channel many times, right? Every week you guys were on here saying Ange out, like cussing all the players, cussing the manager, everything, right? You can't undo that with the trophy. I mean, you got to isolate those two things, right? Like 17th is like no manager should survive that for Spurs, right? I think sacking him was the right thing to do. I think at least for the fan side, you know, you had that great night in Bilbao. You can at least look back on him, because I think generally, you know, your fans did find him a very kind of likable guy, especially those first few months. And you know, I guess from your guys' point of view, it was nice to see him kind of save his bacon a little bit in terms of how he's regarded by the club. Because I mean, you could argue he's a club legend now. I don't know if you guys have discussed this, but you can argue
it's an enigma. He has to be mentioned because it's been 17 years since we hoisted a trophy, and then the trophy he hoists, it's a European competition trophy. It's a competition that, you know, banter aside, you guys haven't won. You know, in regards to European trophies.
Do you reckon you'd have still won it if it was the old rules with Champions League teams coming down and all that stuff? Because again, there was a bit of luck involved with this run. With, you know, I think was it PSG, Madrid, and City would have dropped in, or two of those three would have dropped in under the old rules?
In a weird way. If they still had the drop system, because remember, it was an extra round, because usually it's around the 16, so it's an extra round, 24 teams. Those teams would have dropped off. PSG, you saw what they did. Real Madrid and City, you know, it would have been it also would have been a different story. But, you know, you play who you play. You know what I'm saying? You play who you play. And so, I'll be honest, Crystal Palace had a tougher run winning the FA Cup. And, you know, Newcastle, they had to beat Liverpool. They had, before that,
Arsenal.
Yeah, they beat Arsenal in 2 legs to be able to. So it's, you know, it was the feeling why I did not have hope coming into this season, because I'm like,
I think if you'd kept Ange, I think all you would have needed was one bad result or one bad fortnight of results to suddenly all the gloom would have been back. We should have sacked him. I can't believe we kept him.
Yeah, and then
it was the right decision.
It would have been hard. It would have been hard to get a manager, a quality manager, a coach in November.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
extremely hard. I mean, maybe Xavi, because Xavi's still out there. But even then, you ask, that's a tall order. No preseason, you know, do you really have your players? It would have been tough. And it's one of those rare, I'm leaving out. But it's one of those rare occasions. I did say on the show, you know, I differ with, you know, your cousin in regards to that. Levy and the board did the right thing. They actually did the right thing, taking the time to look at the whole picture of seeing, okay, what is the next season going to look like? You know, in regards to injuries, in regards to the league, the domestic cups.
Yeah,
you know, all these teams are improving around us. You know, so I think
another interesting aspect is, in that example, let's say you kept Ange and you sacked him middle of November, right? Any manager would have come in, they'd come into a negative environment, bad pressure. You know, you got to fix this mess now. There'll be boos everywhere, you know, with bad results and things. But I think where Frank has got an advantage now, and where I think the Spurs job was quite attractive, is you had an abysmal league season last year, and I think there's there's much less pressure and expectation in the league this year. It's almost like this season's a free run, and as long as Frank, I don't think he's going to be analysed that much on results immediately. I think as long as this time in 12 months' time, as long as he's had a chance to show there's like what's the phrase, like, you know, green shoots of growth and progress, as long as he could show that he's putting a side together and that this team is learning how to play his way, he's got a chance to put his formation in and all that stuff and bring his new players. I think that's what makes the job particularly attractive. You're not coming into, let's say, after Poch has gone or Conte's gone, where you need to get top four, or the clubs that won a trophy for 15 years. That, you know, you can't say that anymore. So there's almost an air of relief, I presume, around the fan base in terms of where you are now, right? So I think Frank's got a lot of money in the bank that Ange just banked for him in terms of like getting you guys that European trophy, and then getting also that really shit Premier League season. It's kind of made Frank a bit more of a savior rather than someone, rather than like a firefighter. You know what I mean?
About the Spursy, they haven't won a trophy in a long time tag, because now we have a trophy. So he comes in, and in the league, all he has to do really is have us better than 17th, you know, which I think he should be able to do. And then it's really the domestic cups. I mean, the Champions League, you know, it depends, you know, with the opponents. We'll look at the pods whatsoever. Some lucky chances can happen. And then in regards to the domestic cups, I think it's hard, but you just never know. You may get Tamworth first round, AFC Rochdale semi quarterfinals. You know, it's a little bit, you know, with the domestic cups. But sooner or later, you're gonna have to play the big boys. And for me, I'm like, this team's not good enough to beat the big boys. But then again, it is a cup competition where it's a one-off, especially the Carabao Cup, you know. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting, but this Frank signing, you know, from, like I said, you know, the last 3 days I've just been looking, you know, ever since Saturday, into his playing style, with like he really mix things up in regards to formation. He adjusts, you know, each game, but even within the game,
no more lines of 8 defending with 9 men at Chelsea. Like, none of that again.
That was suicidal wild. Yeah.
Do you reckon the players will have? Do you reckon that, having said that, Maury, do you reckon the players will have a struggle adapting to that? They've gone from 2 years of doing it their own way. You know, like Ange famously has been saying, we play our way regardless of the fixture, to suddenly having to do tweaks, you know, sometimes within the same game.
Yeah, no, it depends. Because if you hear the reports that there was players, I guess around March, that went up to Ange and say, "Hey, look, you know, we can't play this way. It's not successful." Especially, I guess, because he adapted to Jose Conte ball in Europa. You know, right? The league, he was still playing the same way, you know, and apparently, like I said, it's just, I don't know, it's rumors that Romero was one of the leaders that said, in this game, hey, we're going to go play to a back three. We're going to, you know, park the bus. And he agreed. Like, the players on the field said, okay, we need to park the bus. And, and he agreed, and apparently, and you saw the results, we won. We were able to, you know, to hold on. And so I think the players, as much as some of them are crying, I'm going to be honest, Mickey Van de Ven, love the guy, but he's being like a little bitch, crying. It's over. Ben Davies even said today, man, we got to move on. You're a professional. You got to move on. You got to move on. I learned quickly when Gareth Bale left, the first time, or the only time he left, and went to Real Madrid. I said, I'm not going to cry over any other player or manager or coach or whatsoever. And
same with me. Well, for me, when Fabregas left, that was like no one's going to ever upset me again. Like that was my cut off point too. Like
for me, it was Gareth Bale.
We can say, it's like for me now, the only guy that if we ever sold Saka, like, I don't know what I'd be inconsolable. It'd be like my son's died, but everyone else, like, I've got that.
Yeah. Harry Kane, when he left, I just said bye bye, so long, farewell. Do your thing. Go get yourself a trophy. Yeah, bye bye. I said to myself after losing Gareth Bale, I was like, okay, I'm not going to. And so, I think the players, they're professionals. They know it's a business. Players leave, coaches leave. Plain and simple. Ancelotti, gone. Right? Champions League with Real Madrid. Bye-bye. Gone. The players love them. They smoke a cigar with them. That meme you see them. He's smoking a cigar with. Bye-bye. Gone.
Yeah.
We brought you a trophy. Now if you're Mickey Van Ven, your Achilles is telling you, thank God he's gone, because Van Ven can stay healthy. He's always running like a track star. Yes, he's the fastest guy in the Premier League, but he shouldn't be having to run down. And
he shouldn't be needing to show that.
Yeah, and it's a danger. And mind you, the same guy that you're crying, poo-pooing over, put you in the game against Chelsea. You and Romero, not fully fit to get injured again. So these are the things, right, that, he's had injuries. But it's your fault.
But do you see
your tactics? Yeah. But he put some players in that didn't need to play, and they got fired.
So this is where I think it's quite interesting, right? Because you're right. Rushing players back from injury, playing the same players week in, week out, so they get fatigued and injury prone and things like that. That's something sometimes he wouldn't maybe do that at Brentford because he can afford to drop a few players if they're at risk of injury, or rush them back, or not rush them back because there's less pressure on him whether he comes 8th or 10th or 14th for Brentford, right? And at Spurs where there's higher expectations, and you can argue the same with Arteta playing people like Havertz and Gabriel until they get injured. It's kind of because they have to, right? Because those small margins of error cost you a lot more when you're Spurs and let's say when you're Arsenal compared to if you're Brentford where no one's going to care, right? I don't know what Frank's treatment of injuries and fitness and all that was, because Brentford are not a newsworthy club like Spurs or Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
So you're right. You might see that kind of relatively irrational behavior from someone like Frank, which he's not been doing before, because now he's in a different environment compared to where he was previously. So I wouldn't be very assumptive on that kind of point, Mari, because pressure does a lot to a man in any kind of scenario, whether it's football management or anything else. So I'd wait and see on that, on how he handles those things, because like I said, the pressure's going to be on him a lot more compared to where he was before.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you're going to a supposedly Big Six club. I like to say we're Big Six by name, but and so yes, the pressure cooker it goes up. But I just like his demeanor in the sense that he is transparent. He's not nasty to the press, and he was very standoffish, nasty to Australian press when he was the manager at Australia, and even at Celtic. So, and the English media, It's pretty brutal, and so I just think, and some of the players, they say they're upset. I just feel day one is when Frank comes in, he's gonna put his arm around some of these players' shoulder, and he's going to coach them. He's going to coach them, and they will soon forget. Okay, all right, Ange is gone. I just think they're professionals. I just think that Frank has that charisma to get them.
Yeah.
Ready
Another annoying thing is that when he was Brentford manager, he loved talking about Arsenal, Frank. He was always very complimentary about us. He was like, "Well, they're the best team we've played this season. Arteta's an amazing manager. All these players." So we're not going to hear that anymore from him now that he's Spurs manager.
Yeah. To answer Trung's big up Trung, Ange was looked down on. How would you react? Well, here's the deal. Because people did criticize his tactics or whatsoever, but there were some things that he said, because hey, if you're going to be braggadocious about what you're doing whatsoever, and also sometimes be dishonest. I mean, there were some things he said. I'm trying to remember, what was the game he said? Oh, I didn't want to make this move because I didn't feel that we deserved to win. I say stuff like that, and then you get people asking questions about it. Of course, they're gonna call you out. They're gonna answer questions about that. You just have to be professional. There's some positions where in life that you have to be professional. If you're working at a financial institution, even politicians, we have one here in the States that pretty much says whatever you want to say. But and so and as a coach, you kind of have to keep your cool. Because mind you, he went like this. He cupped his ear.
I was going to say to his own fans, yeah.
And I'm telling you now, he would have been fired. The only reason why he wasn't fired is because, as you can see, we're cleaning house. It would make no sense to hire a new manager in February. There's a lot of things that came into that. That one, I'm like, oh, he's fired. That was much worse than Conte did. And mind you, I was happy what Conte did. He called out the club. He called out everything. So it's, but that's the past. And we got, Frank. And I just think he is going to improve us in so many ways, so many avenues in regards to us being fit, not too much injuries. Not saying injuries won't happen, but not the type of injuries that we have gotten the last 2 years. Tactics-wise, the tactics, in-game management, coaching these players, helping these cultivate talent that we have. I just think it makes us much, much better. It's a building block. If you told me, will you guys think you finish top 4? I would probably said no. A lot of things will have to go our way. But if you told me top 6, I can seriously see us be top 6.
Is that kind of where you guys are setting your sights on this season as where you kind of hope to finish?
Yeah, my goal is a European place, meaning either we qualify for a conference or Europa
Would you
League.
be bothered for a Conference League though? Would you be bothered for one of those seasons? I know you'd probably win the league. I reckon whichever English clubs in the Conference League wins it. By the way, I think Forest will win it. Are Forest in it? Are they in it?
Yeah, Forest is in it. Yeah,
it's not.
So
Yeah,
they should be able to win it. And
I reckon. Would you, as a Spurs fan, would you be bothered to be in the Conference League and have these games clogging up your season?
I'll be honest. Because we won the Europa, for me, and everybody who's heard my views on this channel, I want the big 2, the Premier League and the Champions League. Right? FA Cup I will take because I want to say that we are a champion of the UK, of England. So the FA Cup, I would say will hit me hard. It'll be like, yes, we won an FA Cup. We were once. Now you guys are the holders of the most FA Cup. It will do something to me in regards to winning the FA Cup. But after we win that FA Cup, for me, what will put me in tears is winning the Premier League or winning the Champions League, especially the Premier League. I want to win that. So if we qualify for the Conference League and we win that trophy, I think most of the fan base will be happy because it's another European trophy. It's a trophy, and traditionally our club is a cup competition club. So, but for me, my early expectations, a deep run in the cups, Champions League, if we qualify to the knockout stages. Right? That not necessarily means that we get to the round of 16, but at least we'll qualify in the knockout stages. And sixth place or seventh.
Yeah,
sixth or seventh. Those are my expectations.
Player-wise, where do you reckon you guys are lacking the most? Where do you reckon is the most urgent surgery you need for signings?
Midfield. Because now our defense, like it's going to be, those shows in America, we have these shows called Extreme Home Makeover. I'm assuming they have that. Now look at the
coach with the coach that's like showing me the house, and the coach moves and you see the new house in front of them and everything like that. Yeah.
Because now we have his strength because he can play the back. He likes to play the back three. Now bad defensive players like Poro now plays to their strength. They're wing backs. Udogi and Poro. I'm excited about what he's going to do. Then we could put Romero, Danzo, and Van der Ven. And Romero likes to be aggressive, right? There's a illustration of dog and cat, right? Where VDV and Danzo could be.
Sweetness,
where Romero could be technically a de facto 6, be aggressive, and like in the back 3. And if you don't like that, then play a back 4. It'll be a rotation of defenders not playing the high line. So this is great. So our defenders now looks like a strength, and Dragonson's gonna come back. So this is good. The front we definitely need help in the sense that I really want another striker and I want another winger. I'm willing to see what Frank does with Olderberg. Johnson serves his role. I see him as maybe a super sub, like maybe the way you describe Martinelli. I mean, Brent Johnson was our leading scorer. If we could get Semeno or Buemo, that would really help. But it's that midfield where we got you guys killed us. Newcastle killed us. Even the bottom half teams.
So in that system you described, right, 3 at the back, wing backs. So I presume you were talking about 2 centre mids in that system.
Yeah, I would say 2 centre mids.
So with your current players, who would that be? Let's say you don't say anyone. Who would those 2 be?
Bentancur, Sarr. Or maybe Basuma.
Yeah, because the way you described it, there's no place for Maddison in that squad. In that system you described, I don't think Maddison plays in the central 2.
Kulu. For me, I don't. Kulu processes things too slow for me. I'm honest, and people get mad when I say. I've been saying this for 2-3 years. Me and this other guy who owns the channel, Will Stewart, we would do the watch alongs, and we'll just be so frustrated with Kulusevski. For me, my dream signing, who is not that expensive, he's on loan to Lyon. He scored in the Champions League. No, to Lille. Yeah, he scored for Lille. Wait. I want to get this right. He did score in Europe. Just want to make sure I get the club right. He because I always get confused between Lille and Lyon. Yeah, Lyon. Yeah, Lyon. And he scored the equalizer for Argentina. I'll use him as an example. Thiago Almada, who could play the 10, he could play in the wing. He played in the MLS. He was one of the very few talented players who didn't go to Europe, who actually went to the MLS, played for the FC Atlanta, and he will give you 15 goals, 15 assists, solid from the midfield. Then he signed for one of the big Brazilian clubs that played in what will be the Champions League in South America, Copa Libertadores. He signed with them, signed there, but then signed with Lyon. And with the time and the minutes that he played with Lyon, impressed. That's a type of signing, right? If good scouting, because with Argentina, he's going to start. That 4-1 victory over Brazil, Almada was, he was close to man of the match. And so he's the type of guy I would love to compete with Madison for that 10 role, and he can even play in the wing. He's that talented. I would love to bring him in because we don't like to pay high price for players, so we need to look around for these type of players. And it's good that Frank is the type of guy who has a good eye for talent, especially on a shoestring budget, because that is Daniel Levy. But I will say this. It's the wages that's the problem, because he did give Ange over 450 mil to be able to spend on some of these players. He did provide that, So, but it's something that we will see. It's something that we will see. Man, because we don't have a big panel this week, honestly, we're gonna finish before the 2-hour mark, which is good.
There you go.
Yeah. But no, any last words? Anything that you're seeing for Arsenal?
Like from an Arsenal, like you asked me before about like this, the signings and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think we're gonna get Sesko. I think Zubimendi seems like it's done. I think we'll get that backup keeper from Chelsea, and then once we get those 3 players in, I think we'd have a very long summer of looking for a left winger. Whether it's Nico Williams, which we're linked with, and I don't really know if he's really that good. He does kind of look a little bit better playing for Spain with better players around him. So maybe just playing for a lesser team like a Athletic is maybe holding him back. Like I said before, man, the dream signing is Rodrigo. If we were to pull that off, we've got Sesko, Rodrigo, and Zubimendi in the lineup. Where would you hold Arsenal with regards to Liverpool and City's team?
I think it will be this. Just saw a report that the ratings still good in the United States for the Premier League, but it went down because of a lack of a race of title race.
Yeah.
I
even at the bottom, the relegated teams are all sorted. Yeah.
So I think next season will be one of the greatest seasons, because I think for what Man City has done, Liverpool has done, and Arsenal get those things, those 3 teams can win the Premier League, and it's going to be a battle with Chelsea also being I can't stand Chelsea, but I have to say that there will be causes from having, and even us now having Frank. All I ask is for us to be difficult to beat. So when you guys play us, we're going to be a pain in the ass. That's what we all ask, to be a pain in the ass next season, and it will probably take a game or 2 that decides the EPL, the Premier League, and I think it's going to be honestly a 3-horse race and it's going to be memorable. I really think it's going to be a battle royale, WWE style. Like every point is going to be precious next season, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think it will come down a lot to fitness as well. Who keeps their best players fit the whole time? I don't think Liverpool could cope with the sort of injuries that Arsenal had, for example. I don't think no club is supposed to cope with loads of injuries, right? Yeah. It's just kind of make do with what you got. There's a reason that Mo Salah's a star player. It's because you got no one like him on the bench. Same with Van Dijk and all those guys, right?
No, sure.
Yeah, you look at the last 2 league titles Liverpool won. Yeah. Most of their front of the first 11 played more games than the Arsenal and the City counterparts, right? So I think if City and Arsenal I think as long as those 3 clubs you said have got kind of similar injury records, then we could be on for all 3 clubs might get 88 plus points. It'll be, with splitting hairs in terms of who wins the league, but I think it could be a proper classic if they all get their act together.
And even the teams behind them, Chelsea,
Newcastle. You know, Newcastle, man. Newcastle are a really good side. If they buy 3 or 4 top players, and they can now, they can be right up there.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of. I think it's going to be, which is good because of the money that's coming into the Premier League. The teams 2 decades ago would get peanuts, are now the TV deal. The new TV deals coming in. Like you don't feel sad for the Brightons and the Brentfords. They get some serious cash. Like Real Madrid, what they get for their TV contract. Like Brentford is laughing at that.
Yeah, and then even in Spain, like those top 2 sides, they get a good amount of money, and then the drop down.
They don't share it. Yeah, they don't share it.
The drop down to the the Athletics and the Zaragozas and the Sevilles compared to the UK, the English equivalents, miles apart.
Yeah, and so it's almost like it's the Premier League is literally the second best contract in the world behind the NFL. The NFL has a big contract, and the EPL is in the States. It's the second biggest TV. Like the money that comes in, it's the reason why Florentino Perez wants the Super League. He wants the Super League. There's a couple of La Liga games set up to be played in the States, in Miami, to try to generate money.
Isn't the Club World Cup being held there in the States?
Yeah. I'm going to some of the games. As you can see back there, my dad raised me to support Argentina. There's a story behind it. So I grew up, I'm 46 years old. I grew up watching Maradona. And so I like Boca Juniors. And I went to my first, like, La Bombonera. I went to the stadium, famous. It was like heaven on earth. It was beautiful. It was amazing. To finally go see Boca Juniors play. They play in Miami. They play against Bayern. They play against Benfica. I think I'm going to go to the Bayern game next Friday. So the Club World Cup starts tomorrow with Inter Miami. Everybody's taking it seriously. There's big cash prize, and FIFA say, "Hey, this is our World Cup, Club World Cup." So the teams are serious about it. Us winning the Europa now gives us the coefficient points for the next one. I think it's in Australia or Brazil, the next Club World Cup. Arsenal has the coefficient points because of where you guys finished your semifinals, so that gives you points. So right now, the teams who are good right now for that next run of the Club World Cup.
How often is it? 4 years?
Every 4 years. Oh. Right now, because we won the competition, strange enough, because City will count for the previous 4 years.
Yeah.
Strange enough, we're both ahead of City.
Okay.
Us and Liverpool and Chelsea. Right now, the 4 teams that are ahead of City for the next Club World Cup, because their Champions League doesn't count for the next 4 years. It goes.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's
because it resets. So yeah.
Oh, fair enough. I got it.
Yeah, and it's serious money. You take a club like Inter, who got to the final, they made about 130 mil. They're about to make another 130 mil if they go as expected. Maybe it's the semifinals. And
yeah, isn't the total prize? I think it's $1 billion, isn't it? In total, the total.
No, yeah, it's serious cash. So it's a serious tournament. They're bringing everybody. All the star players are playing.
I think deep down the club, like the staff at least, maybe the higher ups don't mind it, but I'm sure who's in it from England? Who's in it from England?
Chelsea and City.
I'm sure Pep and Enzo and I'm sure Pep and Maresca would rather have summer off and have a proper preseason. Next season, man.
Yeah, but
it's a lot of football. It's a lot of football. Those teams will go far, assuming. There's a lot of football to play in the middle of the summer. Yeah, they should be on their boats and their yachts in the Maldives and stuff. But
and they said, and we're gonna probably end the show in a couple of minutes. They said going to the next season, the advantage will be with Liverpool and Arsenal because City, if they go to the final, because they're in the same bracket, if they win their tape with PSG. To semifinals. So if they win, it's July 14th. They basically got 2 weeks to rest. Same with PSG. I said Spurs may have had a chance against PSG because they're going to be tired. I mean, some of their players, Mendes just played against Spain in the Nations League. Now he's on a plane to the Club World Cup, and then he only has 2 weeks to rest until the Super Cup, which is August 13th. So it's my phone. I gotta put this on silent. Yeah, so it's crazy. But man, it's an honor to have you. I just wish Stefan and Connor were here tonight.
It's been fun, man. I'll come back on when they're around. And
we'll get
my cousin too. It's been really good, man. I had a good time.
No, I think everybody enjoyed having you. I'm looking at some of the comments. A couple of people said it was good having you. Matter of fact, they want to see you go against your cousin. We'll see if we make that happen. I'll get your information as soon as I end the stream. But no, thank you for coming out. It's weird because the announcement of Frank. So I know a lot of people watch this show later on. But I know some of the other channels they're watching because of the big news of Thomas Frank being appointed. But yeah, man. This will be the first of many. Cousin Stel. So we're about to end the show, and come on, you Spurs.
That's on. Up the Arsenal. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, man.
Come on, you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.